friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today I am beginning my fall plantings here in my North Carolina Zone 8A garden. We are going to do, I've already done some annuals. We're going to plant a shrub. We are going to transplant a perennial, just doing a little bit of smorgasbord around here today on this lovely cloudy day. It is a great time to be out in the garden. You just saw me, y'all. I keep it simple, simple, simple in the fall. I have gardened my little heart out all spring, all summer, and when it comes to fall, I keep it simple. I just like a nice, clean, simple garden in the fall when I look out and I don't feel convicted of, oh, I need to go fertilize you or do this or do that. So when I plant violas and pansies, I keep it to a minimum. In fact, I told Jerry this morning, I was like, these are the two places I'm gonna plant violas here at the house. Don't let me plant any more. This was one of those two places. And y'all, you may look at this and go, well, big whoop. Y'all, when I say I keep it simple, I keep it simple. So here we are just on the, the front side of the garden shed. I have this cute little, half circle of a planter. And I put 4 simple, clear yellow violas in here, right? So this is just a pure yellow flower. 4 is plenty for this container. I had 1 sweet potato vine in there, and it was already to the point where I could not keep water on it. I was having to water it like twice a day. And as soon as we get the first frost, then it's done. These violas for us here in the South, they will literally go until the spring. And by having these sweet little things right here, if I'm sitting on the back patio, even maybe looking out the window from the house, I will see this spot. Those 4 will completely fill in this window box. And that is the beautiful thing about us being in North Carolina. Pansies and violas we plant in the fall. They last all winter. They go into early spring, but as soon as the heat hits, they don't like it. These are cool weather annuals. So that's the blessing of being in North Carolina, is we can plant them now and they survive our winter. It look great in the spring, and then we pull them out when it is time to put in our summer annuals. So if you are like me and you are a Southern gardener, I would say it is about time to go ahead and let's put these pansies in, the violas, the mustards, the kales, the cabbages. Let's bring on fall, right? I know I was talking to some people in Texas and they're like, we're still like in the hundreds and the upper 90s. First of all, I say this is all the love in my heart. Bless your heart. And I mean that genuinely. Oh my heavens. Hang in there, friends. Cooler weather is coming. I would probably wait a little bit until it gets down into the lower 80s, maybe upper 70s, then plant the violas and the pansies. If you're in the upper 90s and hundreds still, it's just way too hot. Like, they're not gonna do well. So just hang on a little bit longer. I cannot leave this space without showing you my 2 early wonder camellias, because they are covered in buds. These camellias are from our friends at Southern Living. And oh my gosh, y'all, look at these 2 sweet little camellias right here covered in these buds. Oh my gosh, consistent water for your camellias is very important, especially if they're young camellias. Early Wonder gets its name because it does these big, beautiful, like pink flowers. I want to say, and I should have looked this up first, but I want to say this is technically a japonica, not a sasanqua. This is why it's called Early Wonder, is because it is a japonica and it blooms earlier. If I'm wrong, I'll correct it on the screen. But a gorgeous, gorgeous camellia. And I have it growing up, had these 2 right here. I've got my sweet osmanthus right here. I always envisioned having a nice narrow path right through here, and that is what is happening so far. So everything is looking great here in the back patio. I've got some work to do. I've got some unruly plants. They're 2 flower beds that really need some love and attention, but we're not going to focus on that today. That is tomorrow Jenny's problems, not today Jenny problems. So what we're going to do is we are going to head down to the privacy berm, because that is where we're going to plant the shrub, and we're going to move a perennial. Here we are on the house side of the berm at the very, very end. Going down to the nursery, it's just right over there. This is where we are going to be working today. So the shrub that I am going to be planting is a really fun new introduction from Proven Winners. And I would say, like, in the last 2 years this has been introduced. It is Kinsley's Ghost, and Kinsley's Ghost is actually a type of honeysuckle. It is a non-invasive honeysuckle, and it's going to be a little bit different than what we think of traditional honeysuckle in the fact of, one, it's non-invasive, two, it does produce lovely yellow flowers, but the main attraction of Kinsley's Ghost is the foliage. After it flowers, it's going to form these almost like a eucalyptus type blue-green foliage around it. It is very, very cool. So I am planting it for the foliage aspect of it, not necessarily for the flowers. Where we are going to put it is here on the end of the berm. You can see that I have my golden Oakland holly. On the other side, we have our North Pole arborvitaes. Kinsley's Ghost is going to go right here because it is going to be a beautiful color contrast, texture contrast between these other two types of trees. You can see that this is going to be what we're planting is a 3-gallon shrub. It is already trellised with on 3 stakes, and I'm going to plant it with those trellises in place until it starts to climb the fence, and then I can remove those if need be. Now, thinking about this, because Kinsley's Ghost is hardy in zones 4 to 8, it'll get 6 to 12 feet tall, and I think it's like 4 to 5 wide. So I'm planting it here so that the hopes is that it will fill in on the fence. And even though I have the golden Oakland holly, which will eventually get to be a nice size, that this will fill in and just kind of come this way and be a beautiful backdrop to the golden Oakland holly. Also, I don't want to plant, at first I was thinking that I would plant it down further, but that North Pole is right there, and I don't want to plant it directly in front of that North Pole, so I'm going to offset it a little bit to the right. Yes, as it grows, I will have to make sure that it doesn't choose to grow into the North Pole as opposed to the fence. So that is a quote a maintenance issue that I'm going to have to take care of. But you can see just already how a lovely color contrast this is. This is going to be so fun. I cannot wait. These are absolutely stunning foliage on it. So we have the 3 gallons available at the nursery currently while supplies last, and then we do have them online. So we're going to plant Kinsley's Ghost right here, and then the perennial that we're going to move is so the Hudson River clematis. So you can see that this is a beautiful repeat continuous blooming clematis that is here. We actually have 3 of them. I might go in there and start cleaning up some because you can see where we're starting to get some, maybe it was in the drought, who knows, in the heat of the summer. Also, we have some weeds. We will take care of those as well. But this is just one clematis right here. So there's one here, there's one here, and then there's one between the camellia and the pufferfish. That's the one we are going to move. I did not properly anticipate the rapid growth of pufferfish. So we're going to take the one between those 2 shrubs out, and then we're just going to put it right over here to the side, like kind of catty corner behind that. So it'll fill in that hole right there. Now, this is such a fun way to use a clematis. Never in a million years would I have ever thought to use a clematis as a ground cover. Brushwood Nursery, y'all, online nursery out of Georgia that specializes in clematis. 2 years ago, the owner, I had ordered some clematis. We talked about it on the videos. The owner contacted me and was like, hey, I want you to try this Hudson River as a ground cover. And I was like, sure, send them to me. So he sent me 3 using them as a ground cover, and I love it. Now, Hudson River is hardy in zones 4 to 11. It is being used as a ground cover. It is a repeat bloomer, continuous bloomer. And because Hudson River is what we call a type 3 clematis, that means if I want to go ahead and prune some of this and clean it up, I absolutely can. Because there are 3 different types of clematis as far as the pruning categories. A type 1 blooms only on old growth, right? So it blooms only on old growth. If you need to prune it, you want to do it immediately after it flowers. A type 2 is where it blooms on both old and new. So you can, if you need to prune it, it would be best to prune it right after it flowers. But if you have to prune it, say at the end of the season like now, you're just going to miss your first flush of flowers and you'll get a second flush, very much like a hydrangea. And then there is type 3, what Hudson River is. Type 3 blooms only on new growth. So the beautiful thing about that is I literally, if I won't do it today, but literally at the end of the season, once we get a first hard freeze and all of the foliage is dead, I will cut it to the ground. Like I will maybe leave like 6 inches and that is it. So you cut it completely back. Everything that you see right now is this year's growth. So this is the fall is a great time. Great time. I'm telling you, if you are in zones, I would definitely say like 6 and above, fall is when you want to be planting, right? So if you have those shrubs, we need to be planting them now. If you need to transplant a perennial, now's the time to do it. Another thing to think about is when you're doing this is that you want to choose days, like you want to look at the weather. So we got earlier this week, we got a ton of rain. So there was a storm that came through North Carolina. The coast got hammered. There was some major flooding. We did great, right? We just got some much needed rain. So the ground is nice and damp. It is cool. It is cloudy. Some more rain is expected to come. Just, a little bit of rain. That is the perfect time to work and move plants and or plant them on those cloudy, cooler days when you've had rain or you're about to get rain. That is when you want to do it. Optimally, we don't want to do it when it's 90 degrees and it's hot and you're going into the summer. You can do it. Example A, if you remember, I transplanted the pink Cascade 2 in like the absolute worst time. She took a hit, but she made it. That was a year and a half ago. So that's why we love to plant in the fall. So what I'm going to do is I've got my supplies. I've got both my power planter auger. I'm using the 9-inch because this is a 3-gallon shrub. So this is the 9-inch. It is the heavy duty one, right? We have clay soil. So I always use the heavy duty. That means it has the heavy duty tip on it. It has the blades that cut in. All these parts are replaceable. This is what you want to use if you have hard, compacted, rocky soil, clay soil, soil with roots. You need the heavy-duty augers. You don't need one that does not have this. You will regret it. Trust me. So all these parts right here are replaceable. You don't have to wear this down. These guys will do all the work for you. So we have that. And then so this will for my Kinsley's Ghost, and then my new hole for my clematis. And then yes, my friends, I actually have a shovel. We got to dig that clematis up. So I have got my shovel. We're going to dig her up with the shovel, but we're going to plant her with the power planter auger. There are little bugs flying everywhere. I feel like they're like crawling all over my face. It's another good reason for fall to come, cooler weather. The bugs go away. All right, so without further ado, we're going to get these babies in the ground. Y'all, this clematis was an absolute beast. My gosh. This thing was very happy in its current home. We changed that because we uprooted her. Beautiful thing about, right, type 1, type 3, this is what this is a type 3, not a type 1, is that I had to prune her back in order to be able to figure out exactly where the crown of the plant was. And I'm getting ready to cut all of this off so that the energy goes into the roots and not in the foliage. Yes, I sacrificed some flowers. I'm thinking long term, not short term. Biotone is in the hole, so we're going to get it in here and get it all nice and snugged in. I went ahead and drilled my hole. That 9-inch works great on this. I think we got somebody else's roots. That's not these roots. So we want to get it nice and in there. Got it sandwiched in here between 2 irrigation lines. So we don't run this irrigation on a regular basis. We just put it on, turn it on when it's needed. But both her and Kinsley's Ghost are on the irrigation lines. So when it does run, they will get nice and watered. Of course, we have a great compost blend as the topsoil here. I know that I need to come back and top dress to get rid of the red clay, but we're running a little low on compost right now. So I will come back and do that once we get restocked. But as easy as that, when you're transplanting your perennials, your shrubs, really any kind of plant that you're transplanting, you want to try to get as many roots as possible. That is the goal. It was a little hard to do because it was between pufferfish and then the October Magic Ruby Camellia. I did what I could do. It still has a nice, strong, healthy root system. So I have no doubt that this will bounce back next year and probably be even prettier than this year because it's going to be out in more open space and get lots more sun. Had to prune back the pufferfish just a little bit so I could actually get in there. Pufferfish is like this Hudson River. It blooms exclusively on new growth, so it's not a problem. It may look a little lopsided for right now. It's okay. We're going into fall, winter. It's not a big deal. And I will prune it anyway. So I just did a little early pruning on one side of it. Not a big deal whatsoever. So now all 3 of these Hudson Rivers are out exposed. This one will kind of fill in this area and go forward. Let me get all my mess cleaned up because I've got quite a mess, and then we'll show you everybody from a good distance. Today's beginnings of fall planting have been completed. I got the violas in the container, I got Kinsley's Ghost in the ground, and I moved the Hudson River. So it has been a great morning. Just to give you a little bit of the overview, right? So just kind of working on the end of this garden. We're continually working on our gardens, continually improving them, continually to tweak and change and adapt and figure out what's working and, you know, maybe what needs to be added or what needs to be taken away or what needs to be moved. Kinsley's Ghost here on the corner will fill in. As it grows, I'll have to, you know, help it attach to the rails. All I will use is like some of my jute twine or something like that to go ahead and help it just attach. Once it starts going, then it's good. Like it will wind itself around just like it was doing here on these supports. So there you go. Kinsley's Ghost, super excited to see how this grows and develops in the next couple of coming years. Hudson River, she's nice in her new home, right there between the Golden Oakland Holly and the October Magic Ruby Camellia. So this is the new one that we moved, and all of this will fill in, of course. The October Magic Rubies, very excited. These are Sasanqua Camellias from our friends at Southern Living. Southern Living just does an amazing job with their camellias, but this means that it will bloom in the fall. as its name suggests, deep ruby red flowers. And there are 3 of those October Magic rubies. There's 1, 2, and then the 3, and then the third Hudson River, of course. So that way we have 2 here together, and then we'll have this one over there. With that, if you wanted to use it as a ground cover and you wanted to kind of keep it, you know, contained because it blooms on new growth, don't be afraid to go in there mid-season, give it a little haircut, give it a little shot of some plant tone. It'll rejuvenate, get nice and tight, and then of course flush right back out again with new flowers. So that's the great thing about having that type 3 clematis. Again, if you're in the market for a clematis, cannot stress, check out Brushwood Nursery. They just have the best selection. They come as 1 gallon, you know, plants and really great, strong, healthy root systems. So the rest of the berm on the house side is looking great from a distance. Everybody is flowering. The pollinators are loving it. We did get tons of rain. My rain gauges, one said 5 inches, one said 6 inches from earlier this week. So you can see we're, you know, up close. Things are starting to look a little rough. My coleus is blooming. Typically you don't want your coleus to bloom, and you can see down in there the suncredibles are starting to kind of die out because they've been pushed down by the wind. From a distance again, they look nice. The lantana completely rocking it out. It did get laid down a little bit from the wind and the rain, and even like the salvia was starting to do the same. As long as it looks good from a distance and the pollinators are enjoying it, then I will leave it. I won't rip them out until one of those 2 things stops to happen. But we have some fun plans to kind of revamp this side of the berm. We're gonna not put as many annuals in here. Next year we're going to put more shrubs and perennials in so that we don't have to do so much of the mass planting. But my gosh, right now this lantana is just absolutely rocking, covered in all types of pollinators along with the salvia as well. So if you are in those warmer zones like I am, fall is the perfect time to plant and transplant, be working in your garden. The plants love this weather. It's much better on us. While it is a little sticky today, and the humidity and the dew point are quite high, the clouds are here, and it is overall a much cooler day than typically we've been having in the past summer. So this is a great time to get out there and start that. Really, like I do my heavy planting end of September through December. We can plant in January, February. It's just those are, you know, the colder months. So sometimes you may want to take a little bit of a break, but historically we just plant all the way through the fall. I am just getting started, my friends. I have got a stash of plants that have got to get in the ground. So it was a good start today. As always, we hope you found this fun, informative, and inspirational. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.